What's in the bag? Come take a look at Creature Caster's Warrior Demon.
Spiky bits.
So Creature Caster put out a Kickstarter a little while ago and did a bunch of great large-scale demon models, this being one of them. This is the Warrior Demon. It sells on their site right now for 99 Canadian, which I think math says in American is about $77, $78, you know, plus shipping, give or take. It's a large, very large miniature. It comes with this really cool looking kind of rock formation. Now, if you want to put it on a base, you want to play with it games like Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40K, you're going to need a round base and to do up some texture on it. But that being said, it isn't, I mean, we've been doing that the whole time we've been hobbying, so it isn't exactly a big deal, to be quite honest. But, you know, it is just something you might want to be aware of that, yeah, if you're going to play your games, you might want to put it on a beveled base if you're using it with Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40K. But, I mean, as far as pieces go, I've already cleaned and trimmed this up, have not assembled it or washed it down. But remember, you should, whenever you're using resin, you should definitely wash everything down with degreaser, just like dish soap or something like that. And that way you'll get all the mold release and everything off of it, and the glue will stick a little bit better to itself. Now, when you're using, there's a lot more tips that we're going to get into. Not a whole lot on this video because I'm assembling this, showing you this unboxing. We're going to assemble it together, and then we're going to put some paint on it over on Twitch. So if you want to check out how we're going to paint this bad boy, twitch.tv/spikybitstv. So here's the torso itself. Let's get in here and show you some of these dope parts. So it's obviously like a super angry demon man's kind of, you know, where I'd say it's a ragey type demon, but definitely kind of modeled off of King Kong in my mind, at least for this pose here. You can see it's got some really good looking detail in here. Now, if you're familiar with the Lady of Corruption demon that came out, that is probably their most detailed miniature. These aren't quite as detailed as that. They cast those up a little different or something, but I mean, it's still pretty ridiculous. Like all the vertebrae, all of the crazy fur and everything and bone detail all up in here. Now all the wings and everything slot right in. This thing has a crazy big wingspan once you put these on it. Check that out right there. I mean, this thing is crazy big. It takes up the whole camera. I mean, this is literally my two hands for just the wingspan right there. So you can tell it may not be as tall as Games Workshop's Bloodthirster miniature, the plastic one, but it definitely is just as big once you put it, you know, on its base and have it doing its thing right there. So most of the parts are very easy to kind of trim down and get ready for assembly. Everything kind of slots together very easily. There was only a couple of spots, I think, on the horns where I had to kind of drill out and kind of square up the slots to get them in there. Again, you can tell this is a great, amazingly big miniature. All those like cool bones kind of sticking out right there and all that stuff. I can't wait to actually get some paint on this. So here's how he's going to go on the base. And then he's going to have the sword, hefting the sword backwards, just like that. And his horns and things right there, and then he's going to have his hands just kind of down. So that being said, we're going to get this bad boy put together. Now, something to remember, like if you're just doing resin to resin, you might want to score this, but the fact that there is such huge slots right here, I'm not going to bother scoring it or anything like that. I'm just going to put some glue in there. There will be a few gaps you might want to consider if you are interested in this miniature, picking up Vallejo plastic putty. It comes in a tube, and it comes also in the dropper bottle that we're used to with their paints. And what that's going to do is that's going to fill those gaps right there, and you'll be able to come back and trim it off after about 6 to 8 hours. It gets super hard. Stuff's way easier to deal with than liquid green stuff. I cannot recommend plastic putty enough. So make sure you pick up some of that when you get your Creature Caster miniatures, because the gaps aren't exactly 100%, but they are still pretty close. Like that one I probably won't have to fill, but that one on the back side you definitely want to fill some of that there. So that being said, let's get this guy put together and show you just exactly how big he really is. And we're back with the assembled model. Now here he is. You can tell he is indeed ginormous. I'm actually going to zoom out of the camera now. We zoomed in a little bit to get a better look at the parts, and I feel like now you can definitely see exactly how big he is. I mean, that's my hand. I can palm a football. he is really big, and then when you put him on his base, he gets even bigger. So this guy is definitely a representation of the anger god's wrath, 100% for sure. And now you're probably like, hey, that doesn't look put together. And you're right, it isn't. So once I got starting to assemble this, I realized that once I slotted these things in here, that it would be very difficult to airbrush and get this thing painted up properly had I glued down the wings in here, and also the crazy horns. Check this out. These go way back here like this, so there's no point to gluing those in when I can base coat them by hand and then fade them out with the airbrush. So always work smarter, not work harder when you're assembling things. If you know you can do something a little better with saving some assembly steps and things like that, then definitely do it. And now over here, I'm going to mount this to probably an oval base and put some chipped rocks and things in it, and this is going to end up being a custom, probably Dread Knight size base for the warrior demon right here. So that's it for this one. I think I've done as much as I can. Now it's time to wash them down with a little dish soap and get them all dried off, work on the custom base, fill some of our cracks right there with the Vallejo plastic putty, and then it's painting time after a quick primer coat, just to give something for the airbrush paints to stick to. So that's it for this one. It was a super exciting project. This is a great looking model. I can't wait to paint it up live on Twitch. So make sure you check us out over there if you see us pop up and we are alive. So if you like our video features here on the channel, make sure you subscribe to us and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and thumbs up our videos. And head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.